Hey there, this is Cheryl Clark from phenomenalspeeches.com, and in this video I want to give you some tips on how you can lower your anxiety before your next public speaking event. So it's no secret that most people are terrified of public speaking. They get nervous, they get anxiety, they don't want to do it. It's just not a pleasant feeling, and it happens to the best of us because it's completely natural. However, we don't have to deal with that before every event. There are ways you can lower your anxiety if you know how to do them ahead of time, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Because honestly, the truth is, the reason it makes us scared is because it triggers our fight or flight or response system. And there's no reason to trigger that. There's no lion, tiger, or bear in the audience that's going to bite your head off. So it's not necessary to be that afraid. And I'm going to just jump in with 6 tips to hopefully help you feel less nervous the next time you have to speak. So let's just jump right in. So tip number 1 is to know your topic. Most anxiety stems from a fear of being judged by our peers. But if you know your topic and you've practiced it and you know that you are there to deliver value to your listeners, there's really no reason to be afraid. So knowing your topic is tip number 1, because you don't have to worry about them judging you poorly if you took the time to create and practice to deliver a great speech. So that's number 1, know your topic. Number 2 is to anticipate your audience's questions or objections ahead of time. This goes with number 1. Just like you should take time to prepare and really know your topic thoroughly, you should also spend a little extra time anticipating what your audience may ask you. What might they object to? If you can do that, then you can prepare your responses also ahead of time and go through those so that you feel more confident when they inevitably pop up at your event. So that's number 2. Anticipate your audience's questions or objections ahead of time and prepare for them. Number 3, make sure you stay present in the moment. Fear is usually about something that hasn't even happened yet. It's your mind creating this scenario that things are going to go horribly wrong and all this bad stuff's going to happen. But none of it has actually happened yet. So if you are present in the moment and focusing on right now, you can't preoccupy yourself so much about what might happen in the future. So being present means paying attention to your breath, how you're standing, just your surroundings right now, your skin. All of these things you want to pay attention to so that your mind has less time to wander off and conjure some scene that hasn't happened and may not ever happen. So that's the next tip. Be present in the moment. Tip number 4 is to do deep breathing exercises. Again, this goes with the tip I just gave you about being present in the moment. When we feel fear and we feel anxiety, our breathing usually speeds up and it usually becomes very shallow because we're thinking about something that may happen. So you should actually do this on a regular basis, not just before a big speech. Take some time every day to be intentional about taking deep breaths, right? So that when it's time for you to actually speak and get in a situation where you're naturally going to feel nervous, you will be able to anticipate it. You'll know it. You can sense it, like, oh my gosh, I'm starting to breathe too fast. Let me just stop, feel my feet on the ground and take a nice deep breath. Take several deep breaths to ground yourself and get centered, and that will help you reduce anxiety. It will help you from a physiological standpoint. Everything will just kind of calm down. So that's the next tip. Take deep breaths. Tip number 5 is to embrace silence. A lot of people really get uncomfortable with silence. They feel like they have to fill every single moment with chatter and talk or of something. They feel like it's, they have to be saying something all the time, which is not true. Just like when you're listening to music, the beats and the notes that you hear are just as important as the rest and silence in between. Otherwise, it would just be chaos. So embrace the silence. And as a matter of fact, I wrote a blog topic on this some time ago, and I will post a link to that in the comment section. It talks about how you can use silence to actually strengthen your speech. So that's tip number 5, embrace silence. And here we are at tip number 6. Tip number 6 is a big one, and a lot of people don't want to do it. They say they don't have time, they don't see the value in it, but I'm here to tell you that it makes a huge difference. So if you have a big speaking event coming up, or even if it's not a humongous event, but you just want to make a good impression, you should want to make a good impression anytime, I highly recommend standing up to practice. Reading your speech in your head from your laptop is not the same as standing up and rehearsing your speech. When you stand up, you will catch awkward phrases that may have sounded good on paper when you read them in your head, but they're just a bit much when they're spoken aloud, right? Because public speaking is for the ear. It's not about, what's on paper. So you may want to cut down on some things that may be wordy or too many syllables and just too much. So it will also help you with your pacing, if you're going too fast or if you're going too slow. When you stand up, you can also work out your gestures. You can feel more fluid and you can practice how you're going to move. And it's just an overall fantastic practice to do because it gets you, just more comfortable in your body and what you're about to do, which is have a conversation with your listeners. You are going to provide some sort of value or do some kind of entertainment. There has to be a reason for you to speak. And when you do all of these tips that I've just suggested here, they should help you lower your anxiety level and your nervousness so that you feel more confident before your next public speaking event. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Please also connect with me on LinkedIn. Just search for me, Cheryl Clark, and I will be happy to link up with you there. That's it for now. I'll see you next time.